We start at the very beginning with the miracle of all miracles, the creation of the universe itself. Because without its creation, there would be nothing. And while some scientists and astrophysicists disagree, as believers in God, we know that the creation of the universe inescapably points to something or someone as the creator. At this point, I'm going to ask you to use your imagination for just a little while. Imagine it's 13.7 billion years ago, an almost impossibly long period of time in the past, and there is nothing. There's no light, no sound, no stars, no sun or moon, no Earth or other planets, no galaxies, nothing. But then suddenly, in a millionth of a second, there was an unimaginably powerful blast, which we now refer to as the Big Bang, at which time the universe was created and every atom, every molecule, every subatomic particle, all matter of every kind was created and expanded outward at speeds our minds can scarcely comprehend. And through the billions of years following, stars, galaxies, and planets began to take shape. About 4.5 billion years ago, the planets in our solar system began forming. But over the course of billions of years, our Earth was transformed from a fiery molten mass of rock into a planet that could sustain life, which the scientists say started as waterborne microscopic organisms in what they say was a kind of primordial soup, where life was determined by chance and circumstance, and no intelligent design whatsoever was involved, or so they say. Now we leap forward a few billion years to the mid-19th century. About 160 years ago, along comes Charles Darwin and his theory of evolution, saying the universe had no design and no purpose, and was nothing but blind, pitiless indifference, and we, humankind, evolved from the lowest form of life into what we are today, while denying the existence of any kind of intelligent design for our universe and for us. Over the years, scientists have argued about exactly how the universe was created and what is needed before any planet can support life. They've taken everything into account, and most have agreed that the odds against life in the universe are astonishingly small. And yet, here we are. Still, ignoring the odds, scientists since the 1960s have been searching the universe for signs of life with the most powerful radio receivers ever developed, and to date they have found nothing. After learning so much more about our universe, many in the scientific community have concluded that, quote, the more we get to know about our universe, the more the hypothesis that there is a creator gains in credibility as the best explanation of why we are here, end quote. And today, with the advancements in science and our intelligence, science is pointing more directly and more powerfully toward a creator than at any other time in recorded history. It seems like they're just now catching up to what we believers have known for thousands of years. Today, every scientist agrees that life of any kind begins with a single cell, and it evolves from there. Explaining the origin of life requires an explanation for the origin of the cell. Yet scientists have also proven it was impossible for chance interactions among early Earth chemicals and molecules to create the cell and its building blocks. The fact is, the building blocks in the cell and the cell itself were designed and created with a purpose to support life. Furthermore, anytime we see something designed and created for a purpose, we know with 100% certainty that it was designed by an intelligent being, and the only intelligent being who can create such a design at a molecular level within every cell, within every living organism, is God. So, the best argument for God's existence comes from, of all places, science itself. Our planet Earth. Since the beginning of time, its very existence in the universe has been a source of mystery and wonder from one generation to the next. 1,000 years before the birth of Christ, The Hebrew shepherd David looked into the heavens and was filled with awe for the world God had made, later writing, "How many are thy works, O Lord? In your wisdom you made them all. In the beginning you laid the foundations for the earth, and the heavens are the works of thy hands. One generation will commend thy works to another. They will tell of your mighty acts. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well." While considering the Creator in his handiwork, the Old Testament Isaiah wrote, "He is the God who formed and made it. He established it and did not create a waste place, but formed it to be inhabited." Today our planet is home to more than 1 million different species of life, diverse, sometimes exotic, and each relying on an extraordinary system of conditions and provisions that ensure their survival. And we, as God's crowning achievement of creation, should always give thanks for his creations. God created the earth for his pleasure and ours, and he took great care in the process of making it. Every detail was intentional. King David was one of many who delighted in nature, seeing evidence of the Master's hand all around him. In Psalm 136 he said, "Give thanks to the Lord of Lords, to him alone who does great wonders, who by his understanding made the heavens, who spread out the earth upon the waters, who made the great lights, the sun to govern the day, the moon and stars to govern the night." God's formula for life on earth involves many factors and ingredients, all of them working together in a precise balance. Consider for a moment the Earth's rate of rotation on its axis. It spins 360 degrees once every 24 hours, a moderate rate compared to most of the other planets, and it proves ideal to properly warm and cool the planet to sustain life. The ingredients of our atmosphere, which extends less than 50 miles above the surface, is made mostly of nitrogen and oxygen, a mixture almost perfect for life, while acting as a protective shield from the deadly radiation of the sun. The orbital distance and duration around the sun each 365 days gives us the 4 seasonal changes that are necessary for life to exist. The Earth's distance from the sun is 93 million miles, which has a huge effect on the Earth's climate. It's not too close or too far away, and it's resulted in a very comfortable average Earth temperature of 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Even in Earth's most severe environments, including the 130-degree heat of the Sahara Desert and the frigid temperatures of Antarctica, a large variety of life and organisms thrive. By contrast, our moon, with no atmosphere, is barren and meteor-scarred, which gives us a clear picture of what the absence of an atmosphere can mean. A barren, lifeless, meteor-pockmarked surface. Yet in God's formula for life, even this dead satellite of the earth plays a crucial role in our survival. The rise and fall of our ocean's tides is controlled by the moon's gravitational pull. If the moon was closer to the earth, or much larger, devastating tidal waves could submerge large areas of the continents. Move the moon too far away, however, and tidal motion would cease, causing water to stagnate along the coastlines. Either case, life as we know would be dramatically affected. As inhabitants of the earth, we are passengers on a remarkable and unique spacecraft. For in our planet's design are a mixture of qualities and features that work in a harmony seen nowhere else in our solar system, and maybe even the entire universe. And each day they work before us for the existence of every living thing, an abundance of flowing water and a favorable climate, fertile soil suitable for agriculture, ocean tides that cleanse the shorelines, a life-supporting atmosphere filled with clouds that transport a liquid treasure, an ideal size and gravitational pull, a protective magnetic field, and the best possible location in the solar system. These are ingredients in a perfect formula. The absence or change in any one would prove catastrophic. Colonel Guy Gardner, an American astronaut and a space shuttle veteran, after orbiting the Earth in the space shuttle, said, quote, "In the first chapter of Genesis, we read that God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And when you look down at the earth, when you look at creation, you see that not only was it an incredible design functionally that fits together and works, but there's also this beauty in what you look at. You start out over the jungles of Africa, and you look down on the jungles and the beauty of the coastlines and deserts, and then a few minutes later we'll be flying over the snow-covered mountains of Siberia. It's just incredibly beautiful to look down on a myriad of colors and waters and land masses, and to see the beautiful, thin blue horizon of the Earth's atmosphere and watch sunrises and sunsets. You're just overcome with an immense beauty of this creation. That God created not only a place we can live in, but He created a place we can enjoy and enjoy fully. End quote. Are we here by accident or chance, without an intelligent design? Hardly. Throughout the universe, there is one substance all of science agrees is vital to life: water. Water is one of God's most magnificent creations. Water has been called the most important substance in the universe, a chemical treasure flowing freely, maybe nowhere else but planet Earth. It's the shaper of continents, the controller of climates, and no living thing can exist without it, and the Earth has been blessed with a liquid treasure. 70% of our planet is covered by 326 million cubic miles of water. It's colorless, odorless, and tasteless, and at the same time supremely ordinary and spectacular. And each day, it touches every facet of our lives. The importance of water is perhaps best revealed by the fact that more than 60% of every human body is made of water. Consider for just a moment the tiny droplet of water that creates snowflakes that fall to earth on a winter's day, and the number of winter days in the lifetime of our planet. When photographed through a microscope, we're amazed at the design and craftsmanship incorporated into every flake. Each is built upon the same six-sided framework, yet each is different, and as far as we know, no two snowflakes have ever been found to be exactly alike. Their beauty serves no practical purpose. God could have allowed their formation to be the same shapeless mass, yet instead, He chose to create a gallery of countless individual masterpieces. It is in contemplating beauty's existence that we see a more complete picture of God the Creator. For it seems that the earth was not only designed to support life, but also to bring pleasure to the people who live here. Both of these objectives were described in Genesis chapter 2. And the Lord God planted a garden in the east in Eden, and He made all kinds of trees to grow out of the ground, trees that were pleasing to the eye and for food. Plato, Aristotle, Sir Isaac Newton, Copernicus, Galileo, Michelangelo, Albert Einstein, Werner von Braun, and Johannes Kepler are some of the greatest and most influential people in the world of all time, and all of them acknowledged the existence of a creator and intelligent design as they looked up into the universe and beheld the wonders of God's work. Not only from the infinite cosmos where the number of stars outnumbers the number of grains of sand on all the ocean shores, but from the very creation upon which they stood, our remarkable planet Earth. All of creation points to the Creator. In Psalm 19, verses 1 and 2 is the wording, "The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of His hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they reveal knowledge." Aristotle, the philosopher and scientist, once noted that beauty is the gift of God, while the Italian poet Dante echoed that all of nature is his art. From the subtle beauty of the northern lights to the ornate pattern etched upon the seashell, every part of creation is a showcase of sculpted, colored, and formed to delight the eye of the beholder. The beauty we see around us in the natural world can point our souls to the Creator of that beauty. The Catechism of the Catholic Church summarizes this particular way of coming to know God. Ever since the creation of the world, His invisible nature, namely His eternal power and deity, has been clearly shown in the things that have been made. And this was further said in a Vatican publication in 2006 titled The Way of Beauty, which says, "From the contemplation of the countryside at the setting of the sun, or snow-capped mountain summits under a starry sky, or fields covered with light-drenched flowers, or the varieties of plants and animals, there is born a palette of sentiments that invite us to read within, to pass from the visible to reach the invisible, and give an answer to the question, who is this artisan with such powerful imagination at the origin of so much beauty and grandeur, such profusion of beings in the sky and on the earth? Not only does the beauty of the natural world lead us to God, it also establishes peace in our soul and encourages us to act virtuously. The contemplation of the beauties of creation causes an interior peace and sharpens the sense of harmony and the desire for a beautiful life. With religious man, astonishment and admiration transforms themselves into attitudes that are interior and spiritual. Adoration, praise, and thanksgiving to the author of these beauties, which is God himself." End quote. This is why it's beneficial to surround ourselves with natural beauty and to seek out those breathtaking places that God has created. And while we surround ourselves with the beauty of nature, we must consider God's creation of the plant kingdom. More than 300,000 different species of plants paint the earth with a living mural. They are our source of food, clothing, and shelter. Medicines are derived from their stalks and roots. Most of the oxygen we breathe is released from their leaves. And like water, the atmosphere, and the magnetic field, they are special creations, integral parts in the fabric of our living planet. Have you ever watched a time-lapse opening of a flower and not seen the wonders of creation and life? As the flower opens its petals to the sun, a curtain rises to a timeless scene. Beyond their beauty, they work as living machines for the production of seeds, and in their crucial task rests not only the next generation of roses or daffodils, but the ultimate survival of every living thing. Their seeds are then transported to a suitable growing environment by the wind or birds, or by traveling insects that pollinate the next generation of a plant they land on. Think of how many times we've seen an amazing sunrise or sunset. Or maybe you visited the Grand Canyon, or maybe seen a pod of dolphins playing together in the ocean, or the great whales breaching the surface of the oceans and seas. There are so many things in nature that give us pause and make us say, wow. And how about our weekly musical meditations right here at our church that, along with the beautiful songs, show the magnificent scenes of God's creations? The glacial valleys, the alpine meadows, the landscapes and mountains, the highest peaks of the most famous mountain chains in America and the world, the oceans and their shorelines, long and wondrous barrier islands and inlets teeming with life, forest waterfalls from tiny meandering rivulets to the mighty Angel Falls in Venezuela or the Victoria Falls in southern Africa. Seemingly endless expanses of wildflowers of every kind and shape and color. Rocky shorelines with crashing waves that show such beauty that almost takes your breath away. Lush jungles and equatorial rainforests. Snow-capped mountain ranges so wide and high into the sky they create their own weather systems. Cloud formations intricately designed to nourish and sustain life on the land below. Oceans and seas abounding with mysterious creatures and all forms of life, and which are vital to the planet and provide us with food. We're fortunate here, living in a rural community. Many of us live in a country setting, and we have only to walk out our front door to appreciate God's handiwork. How often does God paint a rainbow in the sky at just the right time, when we need a reminder of His power, His love, and His promises? Witness the trees and vegetation right outside our doors. The intricacies of the common leaf, viewed beneath a microscope, display the work of God's hand. The grass in your front yard, and even the insects and worms beneath, are vital to that life we sometimes overlook, especially when we have to cut it so often. The beauty of the flowers we grow, the vegetables in the garden, the honeybees that visit, eat, and in their travels pollinate other species of plants. Witness the abundant wildlife that visits us from time to time. Listen to the spring peepers and the haunting call of an owl, or the musical bird song we hear every spring. Appreciate the myriad of birds that grace our feeders, or build their nests and raise their young under our eaves. Listen to the rustling of the leaves from a gentle breeze. Feel the wind on your face, or watch the clouds carrying their treasured rain from one place to another. See the beauty of a million fireflies on a summer evening. Or when we're on the beach, look up into a bright blue sky and contemplate the vast oceans and all their wonders before us. And a walk in the fall woodlands helps us admire all of God's colorful splendor as a way of finding refreshment and calm. And after God created light and water, dry land and air to breathe, after meadows and grasslands carpeted the soil, and great rivers traversed their winding paths, after mountains rose majestically toward the heavens, and the valleys, sky, and sea teemed with abundant life, after the earth was complete and perfect in its design and operation, only then was it endowed with the crowning work of God's hand, human life. God's crowning act of creation became the most remarkable foundation relationship in the universe, a personal relationship between God and man that would define the matchless value of human life. While contemplating the miracle of the human body and brain, the Greek playwright Sophocles explained that numberless worlds are wonders, but none more wonderful than man. 24 centuries of scientific exploration have only confirmed his insight. Yet with all that is now understood about the brilliance of vision and touch, memory and motion, we go about our lives for the most part seldom recognizing the spectacular reality of who and what we really are. Except for a period of illness or injury, our bodies work so well they scarcely evoke a second thought. But the process of human conception is so remarkable and miraculous, we could spend hours on the wonders of it all. And it all starts with the fertilization of a single, microscopic, God-created ovum cell that within just 30 hours of fertilization will begin to divide. One cell becomes 2, then 4, then 8, 16, and on. Day after day, millions of carefully orchestrated decisions are carried out and a child takes shape. And everything about that child, everything he or she will ever be, resulted from just one microscopic, God-created cell. The human body, changing, growing, while preserving its unique continuity day after day, year after year, in a matchless celebration of the care and artistry of God. In Psalm 139 are the words, "O Lord, you have searched me, and you have known me. For you created my inmost being. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." The words have transcended for more than 3,000 years with a message that will last forever. Time and again, the writers of Scripture have looked to the world around them to help describe the most extraordinary bond in the universe, the personal relationship between the God of creation and anyone who will accept him as Lord. There are many things in this world that can point our hearts to God, but one of the most effective means of leading a person to God is through the beauty of his creations. With creation, God shows us his power, his grace, and his love, and he gave us his word to tell us who he is, who we are, and how much he loves us. The crowning act of all creation is now complete. We, all of us, live and love as God's most glorious creation. In closing, hear these moving words by St. Francis of Assisi in his hymn titled, "All Creatures of Our God and King." All creatures of our God and King, lift up your voice and with us sing. Thou burning sun with golden beam, thou silver moon with softer gleam, thou rushing wind that art so strong, ye clouds that sail in heaven along, thou rising moon in praise rejoice, ye lights of evening find a voice, thou flowing water pure and clear, make music for thy Lord to hear, thou fire so masterful and bright, that givest man both warmth and light. And all ye men of tender heart, forgiving others, take your part. Ye who long pain and sorrow bear, praise God and on him cast your care. Let all things their Creator bless, and worship him in humbleness. Praise the Father, praise the Son, and praise the Spirit, 3 in 1. Thank you for your attention.